Okay. What's up, YouTube? It's Matthew here. Welcome back to my channel. In today's video, we have Brian here from Cleveland, Tennessee, around my area where I wholesale, where I do real estate investing and whatnot. And in today's video, we're going to talk about his journey in real estate, talk about some of the wholesale deals that he's been able to acquire and close, and just talk about his story. Now, I know a lot of you are going to relate to his story, so make sure you like, subscribe, and play this in the background on your way to work or just for some motivation and inspiration in this field. Make sure you all like, subscribe, and comment down below. All right, Brian, how's it going today?
Going good, man. Yourself?
Doing well, doing well. Okay, well, what I like to start off with whenever I do these interviews, just talk about, how um, you got started in real estate or how you got first introduced to real estate or wholesaling.
Yeah, for sure. So one night I was just kind of hanging out, mindlessly scrolling on TikTok, and I got hit with a TikTok from what was it, Paul McComas, talking about wholesaling real estate. Um, and that's kind of how I got involved. I started learning about wholesaling. I was like, this guy's talking about making 10 grand a month. So obviously I go down the YouTube black hole, ended up finding you, um, all those other guys, Jamil, Brent Daniels, the Flip with Rick crew. And then when I found out you were local, pretty close to me, that's kind of when I honed in on your content. I was like, okay, this is cool. This guy's basically in my backyard, so
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna, heavily follow him, so to speak.
Got you. A represent. So with
Yeah.
the I guess with your journey, what were you doing before, or are you still doing whatever you're doing, whether you're in school or working a full-time job?
Yeah. So I work full time for Amazon.
Okay.
Um, that's essentially, man, I've been with them for almost 9 years.
Oh,
Still
wow.
work for them today. So essentially, I've been running two jobs.
Okay, got you. So you're working a full-time job when you first got introduced to wholesaling, and you're still doing that at the
Yep.
moment. So yeah, and I know a lot of my audience are wanting to know, how do you balance the two? How do you wholesale real estate and still at the same time, have a full-time job?
Yeah, for sure. So for me, excuse me,
Yeah.
um, man, it was hard. It was
Mm,
hard. I'll say that. I researched for probably like the better part of like 9 months before I actually started like taking income producing action, so to
hmm
speak. Um, and I like you just got to make the time. Everybody has the time. It's hard. We all got families. We've all got jobs. You just got to make the time. And for me, like what I specifically started doing was when I was taking my son to school in the morning, I would leave like 30 minutes early and I'd take alternate routes cruising for neighborhoods that look like there might have been like opportunity houses. And then on my way back home, I would hit those neighborhoods using the Deal Machine app, and I
hmm
would hit those leads in my Deal Machine app and send the mailers.
Got you. Okay, okay. So I guess you worked around your already, schedule that you had in life, right? Taking your child to school, use that as the time to drive for dollars and use the Deal Machine app and
Yep,
whatnot. And if you all are interested in Deal Machine, check the link down below. But
it's very effective. Yep.
yeah. And then okay, and then so you did that. I think another interesting thing that you pointed out was that you're kind of in that analysis paralysis, maybe because of your, I guess, obligations and responsibilities and other things. But you said for
100%.
9 months,
Yep.
it took you 9 months until you started taking income producing or money generating activities. Because, yeah,
Yep.
I think people can be in wholesaling, but once you start those money generating activities, like, okay, actually be in front of a seller or call a seller or, go out driving for dollars, that's when things change. What do you
Yep.
think? Why do you think it took you like that, those 9 months to get to that point?
Definitely analysis paralysis was a part of it. I mean, like the day came when I just had to do it. I mean, I didn't really have a choice anymore. Like I knew that like I didn't want to be doing what I was doing for the rest of my life, and I didn't want to like job hop. I didn't want to go work for another company. Um, and like I've always kind of known in the back of my head I wanted to be my own boss to some degree. And like one day I just decided to do it. And my wife, as a show of support, whenever I got serious, she actually left her job so that way I could double down and actually invest more time into my business. And one of my first goals with her leaving her job, obviously, was to replace her income, and I'm
Hmm.
very close to doing that. So,
Wow, dang, that is a blessing, like for sure to have a such a supportive wife at your
absolutely,
side. You know, you
absolutely,
said
yeah,
so you said she actually left her job so you can double down on this.
yep,
Wow, okay, yeah, that takes a lot of confidence in you and in what you're doing.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, for sure. No, she that was a big leap for us, as a
Hmm.
family, and but it was now or never, right?
Right, right. No, that makes sense. Okay. And so I guess you were just saying that you're close to, you know, reaching where you're replacing her income essentially,
Yep.
which is yeah, which is pretty good. Okay. All right. So you said I guess you started money generating activities after 9 months. Around what time was this? Was this last year or 2 years ago?
I started taking action, like legitimate action, April of 2022. So
Oh,
nine
okay.
months prior to that is when I was researching. Yeah.
Really? Okay, so this is all recent. Okay.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
April 2022. And then what were those money generating activities that you were doing in April?
Yeah. So I started out calling FISBOs just to like get comfortable on the phone. Like I wasn't really expecting to close any deals by doing that. I knew that I needed to get past that. I don't know, the cold calling fear, right? I feel like everybody
Hmm.
goes through that, especially if you don't have a sales background, which I didn't, but I wanted to get through just being comfortable on the phone before I did anything. And then I could tell that like cold calling wasn't going to be a great avenue for me because it takes so much time. So I wanted to find that balance of like, you can either invest a ton of time or you can invest a lot of money, right? So I wanted to be somewhere in the middle. And that's where I landed on doing mailers, right? Because I can hit the neighborhoods, add the leads to my app, send the mailers, and that's essentially my marketing complete. Um, and then once I get a call, we go from there. But
Okay.
that's essentially like the start of my income producing action, right?
Okay.
Just doing the D for D and sending the mailers. And I
Okay.
started doing that in April. Yeah.
In April. Okay. And so were you doing this all from the Deal Machine app, like even sending the postcards from their app?
Yep. Yep. I
Okay.
use the 7 day free trial that they give you. They give you like $50 worth of free mailers to start.
Mm-hmm.
So I used up that free $50 pretty quick. And then I think realistically I probably invested like another $100 out of pocket on additional mailers.
Okay.
And then, however much it was to like subscribe for the month.
Got you. Okay, okay,
Yeah.
makes sense. All right. So yeah, we can dive into, I guess, your first wholesale deal. So I guess you really started, taking action in April of this year. And then yeah, let's talk about your first deal. So where did it come from? What was the motivation behind them selling? And yeah, and then we can talk about price a little bit later.
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, first deal came from a mailer, right? It was actually a guy who was in the middle of doing a rehab on a house, but he ended up being over leveraged for a duplex that he was trying to renovate.
Hmm.
So he needed the cash influx from that property in order to finish his renovation of the duplex. So he called me up, told me he wanted to sell. I went back and forth on price a little bit. Like I took like 10 minutes to run some numbers and called him back and we negotiated. Ended up coming to terms on a price. It was a little bit higher than I wanted to be, but like just for the sake of getting the first deal done
Deal
and out of the
done.
way,
Right.
I said, fine, let's just go under contract. Like I got to get this out of the way.
Okay.
Um,
So this was
and
a driving
then
for dollars lead?
it was a driving
Okay.
for dollars lead.
Okay.
Yep. The house really didn't look too bad from the outsides, but it was super dilapidated on the insides.
Mm,
Um, Yeah, it was definitely a full rehab house for
Okay.
sure.
Okay.
Yeah, and then yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, yeah. And so I guess yeah, their motivation was they need to finish this flip so they can put money into the duplex that they were doing. Right.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, perfect. So yeah, and then you were talking about negotiating and whatnot. So what did you eventually get this property under contract at? And I mean, and what was the, I guess, after repair value for this property and what did you get it under?
Um, to be honest with you, I can't remember what the ARV was on it.
Yeah.
It was not that long ago, but
Yeah. No,
seems
it's
like
all
a
good.
lifetime ago now. Um, I want to say the ARV might have been like in the 180s or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, somewhere in there, but I got it under contract for like 52.5. That's what I had it under contract for. And I was gonna try and sell it for like 65.
Mm-hmm.
That was my spread I was going for. Um, so as far as finding buyers goes, I hit the Facebook groups, Knoxville, Chattanooga, real estate investing groups. Then I went on PropStream, pulled the cash buyers for like the most recent 6 months, and then just started calling buyers up, asking if they were interested, sending emails. I built up a little like a Word document with the breakdown of the property, pictures, year, built, bed, bath, all that good stuff. The little workup doc, whatever you want to call it.
Mm-hmm.
Had a few buyers come through, do a walkthrough with me. Learned a lot just from like talking to those buyers, doing my first couple walkthroughs. But funny enough, on that very first walkthrough that I was doing, the neighbor next door, she like waved at me, said, "Hey, what's going on? What you doing?" A little bit assertive, and it kind of threw me for a loop. And we got to chatting, and she was like, "Well, I actually told the guy I was about to buy this house." I was like, "Oh,
Mm.
I have it under contract though." And funny enough, that same day, like while I was there giving this buyer the walkthrough, she'd actually got with her bank, and they were sending an appraisal officer out to do an appraisal on the house so she could do a cash out refi on her house to do a cash deal on that property. Um,
Mm.
yeah,
Wow, that's crazy.
but she was very upset with the fact that the seller had already gone under contract with me, so she just dismissed the appraisal guy, and that was that. Like I thought that situation was done or whatever.
Mm.
I was like,
Mm.
that's unfortunate. Had no idea. Talked to her a little bit, try to smooth things over, and then I went on about my business, trying to find my buyer for the deal.
Mhm.
Um, but lo and behold, I ended up actually circling back to her because I didn't have much interest. And I
Mhm.
asked her if she would still be interested in buying the property. Um, and she was still very upset with the situation. But basically, we were able to get to the point to where she did decide to go ahead and go through with the purchase. So that was my first cash buyer and my first deal.
Okay, that's awesome. But
Crazy
yeah,
situation. Yeah,
yeah, no, that is a very interesting situation, especially for your first deal. But hey, I still commend you for doing all the work that you need to do in order to find cash buyers, right? You went on Facebook groups, you pulled the list from PropStream. If you all are interested, check out PropStream down below.
yeah,
And then you pulled a cash buyers list, you started cold calling. So, that work still wasn't in vain, even though you didn't get your buyer from those things, because
for sure. I built some good relationships.
exactly. You got the relationships. You learned a lot, like you were saying, when they were talking to you through the walkthroughs and everything like that. But yeah, so I guess did this neighbor eventually get that cash out refinance from their home?
Yep, yep. She
Okay.
ended up hiring, going to the bank, getting another appraisal. And I think this deal took a total of like 3 months to close because of
Um,
how long the appraisal was backed up for. Like the bank had to wait so long again before they could get someone out to do an appraisal on her house to approve her for the cash out refi.
so you had to keep on with the original seller. Did you have to keep on extending the contract then?
So after I decided that that's the route we were going to take, and I knew the situation, I called them up and just was super transparent with the whole thing. Told them like detail for detail exactly what the situation was, and he was cool with it. He was understanding. He's actually cool with wholesaling. Said he had done it a bit in his past, so he said as long as it got sold and he got his end, he really didn't care.
Oh,
So
okay.
yeah, yeah,
So,
yeah. I
so
was pretty fortunate to have such a laid back seller.
right, yeah, for sure. So were you able, I guess you signed a new contract and just made it like a few months out then, or
Filed an addendum.
okay, oh right, right. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
just pushed out the closing date. Yep,
Okay, makes sense. Okay, and then so they got the cash out refinance. I know you say you had it under contract at 52.5.
yep.
So what did you eventually sell it to the neighbor for?
Ended up selling it for 55. So made 2,500 bucks.
2,500. Hey, I mean, that's proof of
Yep.
concept, like they said, you
Proof of
know?
concept. That's it.
Proof of concept. You got your deal done. And yeah, so congratulations for sure. I mean, just I guess looking back at the deal, are there anything you would have done differently, or what did you learn from that first deal?
Um, don't expect anything. Have
Hmm.
zero expectations going into it. Because you never know what's going to happen, and just be polite to people. Whenever like that neighbor was being pretty angry, like if I would have been anything other than nice, polite, and empathetic,
Mm,
like I probably would have burned that bridge. Because she was coming
mm,
at me pretty hard. But I kept my cool. And if I would have done anything other than that, like I probably would have burned that bridge and would have been able to close that deal with her specifically.
mm.
So just be kind, be nice, have no expectations, work hard, and stay consistent.
Right. No, yeah, I think that's key because I think sometimes, like you were saying, I mean, you never really had experience with sales, but I mean,
Yeah,
that does show experience because I think sometimes a lot of beginners have the wrong conception that to be, I guess, in sales, you have to be like super aggressive, you got to fight back and stuff like that. But no, you can
yeah,
still be your regular self, your personality, a chill, calm person, and you can still win in sales. You can still do well. And you show that with dealing with the buyer. Okay, so yeah, I know that was your first deal, and I know we messaged each other, and you said that you closed a couple of deals since then. I know,
yep,
I was trying to help you find buyers for some other properties, but you were able to find them, so congrats.
yep.
But yeah, let's talk about, I think one of your previous month, or I don't know if it was the month of August or September. I think you closed a couple of deals in one month. Yeah, just talk about that a little bit.
Yeah. So for the month of September, I ended up closing. I got 2 deals closed,
Mm-hmm.
3 deals closed. I closed 3 deals in September,
Okay.
which ended up being a total of 4 deals that I have closed by the end of the month of September. Yep.
Okay.
And
So
then, go
yeah.
ahead.
You said so 4 deals by the end of September.
Yep. And then 3 of those deals were actually closed in September. So September was a busy month.
Oh, okay, okay.
Yeah.
So 3 of those deals in it. I guess the other one is closing. It closed this month.
What's that?
You said so 3 of them closed in September, and so the
And
fourth one, when is that one closing? Or did it
well,
close?
that four deals in total that closed in September. So that first one was my first deal in July.
Oh,
Didn't get any
okay.
deals in August, then had 3 close in September.
Oh, okay, okay, okay.
Yeah,
Understood, understood. Okay, congrats. So how much total, I guess, in wholesale fees was that for the month of September?
a little over 20K.
20K. Hey, congratulations. I
Yeah,
mean, that's amazing. I mean, for some people, that's half their whole salary, for the year. So you're able
yep.
to make that in a month. Okay, well, congrats. Do you have any other deals in the pipeline you're looking at the moment?
I do actually. Yeah. So since I got that first deal out of the way in my backyard market, I kind of took another shift towards going virtual.
Mm-hmm.
Found some pretty heavy hitting hedge buyers and stuff like that are actively buying in Nashville and Memphis, and I really started honing in on those relationships. They gave me the buy box, and then I started seeking property specifically to fit that buy box. That's how I was able to close 3 deals in September. Kind of
Mm-hmm.
reverse engineering the process a little bit. Um, so yeah, I have a couple more deals like that lined up to close in November. I've got 2 lined up to close in November right now.
Okay, congrats, congrats. Yeah. Yeah, and it's interesting because like I think a lot of people they think they need to work a super long time in their own backyard before going virtual, but it seems like you're starting the virtual route pretty soon after your first deal. And so I guess with virtual wholesaling, instead of wholesaling in your backyard, I mean, what are some tips that you would give people who want to, I guess, start with virtual wholesaling?
Yeah, so I would say if you can, definitely try to get your first deal in your physical market. Because I
Mm,
think that the knowledge and the experience that you get from like personally interacting one on one, face to face with your buyers and sellers, that's invaluable, right? Like that's kind of I look at it as like that established my foundation for how I was
mm,
able to get into virtual wholesaling. Because once I got that first deal out of the way, like everything else just clicked and made sense after that. So if you can try to at least get like one deal in your physical market before you dive into virtual wholesaling, because you don't. And for me, like that's just kind of how my brain works. But I didn't want to start virtually wholesaling and not really like fully understanding the process, like step by step, in depth, right? So if you can get
mm.
that first physical deal under your belt, I would do that before you go into virtual wholesaling.
Makes sense, makes sense. Yeah, I think that's great advice too, like because you just get so much experience, like being in front of people, learning how to talk to people,
Exactly.
and you're looking at houses, and I think, going inside the house, understanding, oh, buyers look at this, not at that, okay. And so
Yep.
you get that experience, and then it can easily carry to the virtual side. But yeah, that's good. All right. So I guess just to close out, I mean, I guess what's your goal with wholesaling? I mean, what's your end goal with all of this?
Um, End goal, still TBD, I suppose. Short term
Mm-hmm.
goals, get some debt paid off,
Mm-hmm.
you know, get some of that financial freedom feeling going, right?
Mm,
Long term goals, who knows? Maybe I leave the 9 to 5 and go strictly into business for myself.
right.
And then, start helping other people do what I did and do what you're doing.
For yeah, exactly. Yeah. And if you all want to reach out to Brian, I'll put his Instagram down below. You can message
Absolutely.
him, send a message through Instagram and everything like that. But yeah, Brian, thank you so much for hopping on the channel. I know a lot of people will relate to your story and learn a lot about wholesaling through your experience. All right.
Absolutely. Yep.
Yeah. All right. Thank you all. Make sure you comment, like, and subscribe. All right.